Are you still doing the breeding stuff? Breeding classes since you were trying to...
One of mine talking about was a sock and a lock.
We can.
So you close it, the box closed.
Yeah.
I would take the lock off. Now, see, I'll show you.
When they have a symposium up there.
Talk to anything that
That's right.
Right on the street. We're going to see the shelter. We're here like 2 or 3 times on like Thursday.
How does your knife open under stress? Very few people worry about that. In martial arts, we just start with the knife in our hand. But one of the most important things is pulling it out and getting it out. The gun world understands that. They know they got to pull the gun out now under stress. The knife world, and really the stick world, needs to understand that. You've got to pull this thing out under stress. The best quick draw in the universe is getting your knife out just before you needed it. Getting your gun out just before you need it. That's the best. Stop 6. And we'll be doing stress quick draws from the stop 6. And so we'll get Jason out here just for a second. Now stop 1, and this is, by the way, as with level 1s, we just introduce the stop 6. We don't elaborate them. Stop 1, cover deeply next time. Stop 2, cover deeply in level 3 as it goes. But level 1 is just a general introduction to it. These are the 6 common stopping points of a typical fight where people get stuck because they don't know what to do. The least you are trained, the more you'll be stuck in any one of these positions. And stop 1 really is the standoff showdown range here, where, and it's not really a range, they're stopping points. You know, I don't want to, because you have, you know, kicking range, striking range, grappling range. That's there, but I'm not going to worry about it. I just want to say here that this is all the things that happen that we'll talk about at this next level in this standoff. And it is from here out to sniper range, basically. And trouble walks up to you, and you walk up to trouble. And that's what we discuss when we worry about stop 1. But it's out here, more or less. Stop 2 is when I go reaching for someone, or someone goes reaching for me. Usually our hands may quite well go up. And we get stuck in hands on hands, fingers in fingers. Doesn't happen in the UFC, it's not their world. But in real life, arresting people, trying to manipulate people, whatever it is, you get stuck. Hands on hands, all right here. If you know a few tricks, you can stall to get a weapon out or fight. You can buy a few seconds to do that. But fundamentally, stop 2 is hands on hands, fingers and fingers. Stop 3 is any forearm collision. Could be both on the outside, could be outside and outside, inside, outside. It's Wing Chun country. And if you ever work out with a really good Wing Chun guy, you know it right away. You feel it right away. When you touch forearms, there's just a thing about it that you usually detect right away. But this is all kind of Wing Chun country right here, you know. And all the things that we do, all hand, stick, knife, gun. Today we'll be drawing knives out of these predicaments. Now the 4th stop, stop 4, was this sort of like bicep, collarbone, shoulder line. And this is a very common thing that you see all the time. You know, people that start a fight or one rushes the other. And this is also, if you want to make an adaptation to martial arts, this is kind of judo world. There's a lot of things that go here. A lot of times you see films here, people don't know what to do and they spend time pushing each other, making ugly faces. Because the least you're trained, the more you'll be stuck in any one of these positions. So as I like to say, high is kind of judo. You can have the same thing bent over, and this is kind of wrestling. And stop 5 is any bear hug. You can be chest to chest, shoulder to chest, or back to chest. I'm so old, we just call these bear hugs. Not the clinch or any of the other things. A clinch exists inside the bear hug. So think big, think bigger, think big, you know. And that's stop 5, weapon solutions, empty hand solutions are there. And stop 6 is on the ground. You crash, suddenly you're stopped there. You have no tricks, you don't know what to do, you know. So that's an important aspect of stop 6. We use it throughout every system that we have. Another thing that is a priority that we'd like everyone to know is the 10 fighting positions. The first one is we just call the non-ready stance. And I learned this from Ed Parker Kempo, 1972, down here in Irving, Texas. And that's the stupid stance or the bus stop stance, where you're just out of it, you know. You're daydreaming and you suddenly have to fight or do something from here. And you know, the original Parker Kempo, every punch, every kick, you did from a stupid stance and from a fighting stance. That's where I got that idea from. I didn't make it up. But I really want to work in all our stuff, fighting every punch, every kick from a stupid stance. And then every one from these other 9 positions. So the first one is the non-ready position, and the other 9, let me get a knife, because it's related to today, is you are knife forward, knife neutral, or knife back. Now you will transition through these in a knife fight, because a fighting stance is really about balance and power and motion, and not some photographic position that changes the instant that the fight starts. So why sweat about it? Why worry about the knees this way? Oh, no, wait. No, that's right. Why worry about it? Because when he takes a poke at you, that stance is gone. You have knife forward, knife neutral, and knife back. If you're fighting a guy with a knife, knife back is knucklehead. Because he'll just hack this arm to pieces. Now, most militaries of the world have gone knife back. The Marines are the last, unfortunately, about 1999, 2000. They were always knife forward, they went knife back. And just spar it out. You'll hit this arm, dozens of times. Now, if you get a disarm and the guy drops his weapon, it's okay to be knife back. You can use this hand to block, shove, strike, whatever, and it can protect the knife a little bit. But if he's got an edge weapon, I'm just not fond of it. And really, you're going to be moving around anyway, you know. So try not to worry about it too much. But the big 3 standing: weapon forward, weapon neutral, weapon back. Even if you're unarmed, right side forward, neutral, left side forward. When you are knee high, we fight people who are over us, we fight people who are equal to us, and we fight people who are under us. This is essentially the top side of a knife fight. This knee's up, this knee's down, this knee's up, whatever. I'm convinced that most of the population that you will fight is untrained. And if they get you on the ground, they're probably going to go over you with a knee up. And so it would behoove you to have a lot of tricks against the highest enemy that you're going to be fighting, and that's knee up. And there's a couple of them. If you look at wrestling, Brazilian wrestling, all that stuff, they do give you a knee up when they're transitioning and moving, So they have knee up, but they don't have knee up like the idiot across the street who you got into a parking problem with over there. He knocks you down, and he's probably going to get up, and you have lots of room to operate. So think about that. But so you have on the last one here, you are on top. You can post with the fist, post with the hand, post with the elbow, whatever. But this is like the top side of the knife fight. That's 6 of them. On the ground, you have, you're fighting everyone over you in the full spectrum from here to here. The 8th one is to the left side, not just fighting someone right here, but someone who's knee high or anyone from here to here, this full spectrum. And on the right side, you're fighting someone here, this full spectrum over here. Not just right here, but somewhere from here to here. So those are the big 9 ready positions, and then the 1. Now we use this throughout all the courses simply because it's a checklist that if you're going to do a round kick, do one from every one of these. If you're going to do a hook punch, do one from every one of these. Because it just keeps me online, keeps the system online, because we don't want to create someone who has Billy Bob's kickboxing over here and Ralph Williams ground fighting over here. Fighting is fighting, you fight where you fight.
I would take the lock off now. See, I'll show you.
When they have the symposium up there.
Right on the street, where's this?
The texture of the handle. This has got to survive blood, oil, water, all kinds of problems. So, get the highest texture handle. It could be ugly, doesn't matter. And I like to value the punching with this. And sometimes, as you'll see a knife too, we try to pull this knife out and we can't open it right away. And so the first 1, 2, 3 seconds of the fight, this is like a palm stick. So if you can make the knife so that you can punch with it and not hurt your hand. And some will hurt your hand. Will the top stick out here? Will the bottom stick out for you to fight with this in your hand? And I'm just going to say, from a legal aspect, it's a pretty good idea to have less than lethal material in a knife course. You see that apparatus or something like it, as you pull this out, catches on your material, and you can get a very fast quick draw. You got to have this.
Down here.
Does the clip allow you to screw the clip on in all four corners of the knife? Because you want to pull it out to the way you want to pull it out. When I was working, I had a gun here, I had a knife here. Off duty, I had a knife here, I had a gun somewhere else. And so just by changing the location of the carry site, many knife makers are smart enough to make it screwable in either corner, and some just do it on one side, top or bottom. But really the best is all four.
You're like 2 or 3 times on like Thursday or whatever. Yeah. It's just good, it's just good to knock all that stuff off. Oh, iron oxide. Oh yeah, fucking you know all this. You know what? I saw another Jenga, and I was like, man, she does it.
Reading stuff, reading classes since you were trying.
You're like 2 or 3 times on like Thursday or whatever. Yeah.
I might try to manipulate, raise the elbow, grab here. Looks like an elbow rollover, and you take out the knife. But just remember that this is just about stress quick draws and not really the big, can I stab him, can I not stab him situation. Because really you have these solutions here. You could threaten him, talk to him, run him away, stab him, superficially cut him, you know. All these different choices, but everything is situational. We are just pulling the knife under stress, but really you have to consider, can I, should I, would I, what should I do? Kind of like that. Now you may threaten him from here, or you may have to kill him. You know, we fight criminals and enemy soldiers. Sometimes we take them prisoner, sometimes we scare them off, sometimes we injure or maim them, and sometimes we kill them. It's just that simple. It's not just folding knives. Everyone in the normal world wants to mess with folding knives, but you have these fixed blade knives, and you have the carry systems. It's important for hunters, or it's important for the military. And so, just something to think about. Now this is just an El Cheapo kind, and they usually come with a sheath. And so, this has no backing in it. So in other words, if you go to reach for this, it's very possible that the sheath will rise up a bit, the lower that it is. And so this is taking time away from your draw. Because the sheath is cheap, which is going to be the cheapest part of the deal. You can buy, and also you have to decide too when you're drawing these, is are you coming out in the grip that you want? As we progress through the knife course, we spend time, saber reverse, saber reverse. I'm not going to tell you how to hold a knife. That's up to you. I just want to show you everything, you experiment with it. But if you decide, God, I love the reverse grip, that's an educated guess. And not because someone whispered in your ear, oh, the reverse grip is the superior grip. I'm telling you it's not. Because I've had to write a whole book about this subject. And in summary, you know, I mean, you kill a guy 43 ways with the saber grip, and then 38 ways with the reverse grip. After the first 5, who cares? You know, but nonetheless, statistically, the saber grip is pretty good. But I want you to have an educated guess why you pick the grip that you have, and not just listen to someone. So we phase through all the different grips, then you go out the door, you do whatever you want. But if you have the idea that you like the reverse grip, and you're right-handed, this maybe is not so good, so you have to go get a sheath that is universal, which this isn't, which you can carry the knife, saber or reverse grip in. It's just an issue for you if you're in the military or not. If you have a double-edged knife, it doesn't matter. It is, as they say, moot. No matter what we do, take a shot with a fixed blade and a sheath and see if you can do these same things. You may have to teach the military someday, as I have. There's like, well, the biggest group I ever had was 300 Marines. And they all have fixed blade knives, you know. And so your tactical course, even though when they get somewhere, they will carry a folder. But, you know, they're issued this and they want to use the fixed blade.
knock all that stuff off. The whole iron oxide moving. It's like, well, yeah, fuck.
You still doing the reading stuff, reading classes since you were trying to?
Primary carry side think quick draw. Secondary carry side think backup. That is, and I didn't bring one today, the neck knife, the boot knife, up the pants, down into the boot. This is good for you because you can see this action. What the heck is he doing? You have a sudden, chest itch that he's got to scratch here. And tertiary carry sides. Tertiary is a word I learned from watching Star Trek. Tertiary carry sides are off the body, lunge and reach. And so when you, as we say in police work, watch the hands. It's the hands that will kill you. This is all in this outline. If you'll ask me, I'll get it to you. That doesn't mean that when you're talking to someone, you're just watching their hands. You have to keep track of their hands. And as people will say, I'm in a fight. Where do I look? And the quick, safe throwdown answer is everywhere. But we can't do that. I always tell people to try to watch the center of the chest, because you can keep track of the shoulder shifting and you can see peripherally like the tops of thighs. And it takes the face out of the fight. And the face is a mask. He could look worse than he fights. He could fight worse than he looks. So don't become hypnotized, but you still cannot not look at it once in a while. Sometimes their eyes look where they're going to kick you or something, And so that's why the safe question as an instructor is, well, look everywhere. But really, when the fight starts, that center of the chest is my best advice for you. And you just worry about the mechanics of what's happening. Forget that it's raining. Forget that, everything else. Just deal with the physical mechanics at hand. And don't worry that he looks like Charles Bronson. It's very, very common to stress out, slap the pocket, squeeze the knife, and start pulling it out. Squeezing the clothing at the top of the pocket. This will slow you down. Maybe you won't even pull the knife out. So you have to practice a way to, possibly like that, draw that knife out without squeezing the clip onto your pants. This sounds very small, but it is big. These people carry knives. You say, oh, everyone where you are, try to pull your knife out. You watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds. 6 seconds, but they're knife dudes, I've been doing the Quasimodo system for 73 years, and but they never pull the knife out. It's always they start training with the knife in their hand, and when you ask them pull it out fast, they have problems. This key, you see, you depress a button, the key comes out. You have knives that do this under stress. You reach into your pocket, you start squeezing that knife, poof, it pops open in your pocket, can't get it out. The belt buckle is 12 o'clock, because we use the hell out of the clock for everything. If we're going to say that, then the belt buckle is 12. The appendix carry, or the pelvis carry, is like 2 o'clock, 1:30, 1:45. And so you have to be careful that people have knives there, or guns there. Much of this material goes right over to gun 1. The hip carry of your knife is, 250, 3 o'clock, 310, somewhere around there. The SOB, or small of back carry, is in the small of the back. And so these are and then you have the cross draw, which is way over like at 10 or 11 o'clock. The hands are going to go to these carry sites that I talked about in these stress quick draws that he's trying to do from these places. You can't let a guy, that you're talking to go to that 3 o'clock area, because that's a dangerous spot. Everybody now, to include myself, is using this appendix. We used to call it the pelvis carry, but they're using this appendix carry because several reasons, but in a ground fight, it's available to you on both sides. You're not squished on this side, you can't get your gun or knife out. So this is very popular for years, but now more popular than ever. But you have to worry about hands that go to these sites. Usually this is a borrowing or a digging, or the support hand may be the first thing that you see happening, which is a crossover. So what is he lifting this up for? There's no reason. Why is he flipping the jacket back? When in police work, we ask for wallets. And I like to tell everybody, that that is a potential quick draw. Every time you ask someone for identification. And so the situation has to percolate to the problem point where you're worried about that wallet pull. But often it's not, but it's something to worry about. People have guns in their back pocket in this area. This is the back pocket. This is small of the back. A deeper move. So hands that go here, hands that go here, hands that go here, hands that go here, and hands that cross center line. The cross draw. And people still like that shoulder holster or the something over here.
Like 2 or 3 times.
I like to say that we have this regular a shooter's triangle elbow that's up. Here when they're reaching for the 3 o'clock area. Then, so that's one elbow you should not have to look at. It's not good. That's the flagging elbow. The back elbow is more of a concealed, less chance of you catching the elbow. So you have that one, you've got that one, you've got this elbow position. That's not good. And then you also have the elbow from the pelvis draw, and really the elbow center line and over. And if you want to do some jiu-jitsu on these elbows, that's pretty good. I make a guy stand in front of another person, and you can have a jacket on, that's great, and make these what we might call furtive moves. 5 on each one. And what we're trying to do is embed into your brain through repetition, that's dangerous, that's dangerous, that's dangerous. Make that message that, oh, that's dangerous. And especially with a gun. And then we ask the person, which is what you're going to do with each other now, is to draw your weapon. Wherever you think you want to carry it. The purpose of today, too, is to make you change where you're carrying your weapon. Say, damn, I can't keep it. I can't carry that knife there. That's not smart, And so you say, finally by the end of the day, oh, I like it here. Oh, I think I'm going to put it here. I just want you to realize that many people don't even know that they were stabbed. It can happen like that very, very often. And we're just now trying to deal with times where you are, for some reason, alert enough. We are students of the abnormal. And we really are. And it's a very natural thing. And I could elaborate on that a whole lot. And I should have brought the textbooks with me to hold up so that you could see. But if something happens that's abnormal, we tend to hit on it, look at it. And hopefully that can be enhanced through this visual training. So I'm standing in front of him, and I will give him one of these moves, and he's got to open his knife up. And then we start again. And so if you're really doing this well with professional people, you do like 5 each. You do it with a fixed blade knife too in a sheath. But you have 5 each, and then you give one of these. That wasn't bad. Or that happens to everybody. Doesn't really matter. If I'm the trainee, and Jason, who you can't see, he's over behind the camera, right? He's going to draw on me, and my job is to walk forward normally, and then at some point he makes that move. What you're making everyone learn is drawing while walking, as opposed to standing still. And so we do the same thing with the gun course. You have to draw while walking. Simple skill, but you have to do it. And it doesn't matter what leg is forward. You have to draw out that knife and get it to some sort of ready position.
So maybe we're
So now we're just looking at reversing the process, and now the trainee stands still, and the trainer runs at him. He starts pulling out the knife, and you've got to pull out your knife as quickly as you can, wherever you're going to carry it. So it's just the opposite, but it's a stress draw of a rushing person. Now as we progress to level 2, level 3, level 4, we will engage. We'll do other stuff. But today's subject is really just stress quick draws.
Alright, I'm going to come running.
You just pop it up. He's got to take it and stab it. And that's the fixed blade, come right out of the sheath. Now for the folding knife, probably take a few more seconds. You can start out very robotic, open it up, stab or slash, doesn't matter. Saber or reverse grip, I don't care at this point. Try them all. I want you to try them all to figure out which one you like the best, you know. So just kind of get it. And then I might just yell, "You're about the stupidest motherfucker I've ever seen!" You know. Give them some verbal stress, mean face. Need to see that, you know. I have a lot of experience with that from my first marriage. So it does nothing for me. You know, but anyway, you get this idea. He has to stress quick draw, and then as we will do later, all right, let's do it now. Is a shove, and then the target, and then he's got to get it. And so pick a few, quiet, robotic. Let him get the draw out. You know the favorite expressions. Smooth as fast, all that stuff, you know. Whatever the trick phrase you want to use. And then you can yell at him, just yell at him. He might even not say anything at all. Just yell, you know. And then your here will come over here a little bit closer. And then, of course, you have the shove and the stab.
Walked here like 2 or 3 times on like Thursday, whatever. Yeah.
Why people, I'll try to run this quick, why people do or don't draw a knife or a gun after the fight has started. And this is just something I've researched. I could be wrong, but this is the best I could do. One reason that if we're fighting, I don't pull a gun or a knife is, I've actually forgotten I have one. And we've arrested people, and you pat them down, and hey, why didn't you use that? You know, and they'll say, I forgot I had it, I was so mad. Or why didn't you shoot them with this gun? So, number one, they forget they were armed. Now, the next thing is why they don't pull a knife or a gun is of the big 5 is they know better. They know that this little stupid parking lot fight or this supermarket fight or whatever doesn't deserve shooting or stabbing someone. And they're smart enough to know that. Police live this life every day with all the stuff that they have on. They decide, I can't shoot this guy. I can't stab this guy or whatever. And so you live with that mentality. Guy might be an ex-con. He may just know, I can't kill this guy over this stupid thing. And so those are the 2 main reasons why you're armed and you don't pull a knife or a gun, or your opponent doesn't. Now, why do they? The fight has started, and one of the main reasons is we're fighting, and suddenly, I'm a normal person. I think about normal things, and here comes this hook punch. Oh, it just pisses me off. You forget everything, you know, and you forget the penitentiary. You forget everything, and you decide you're going to take your knife out and stab or shoot this unarmed guy. So you get mad enough inside a fight to do it. And then another reason you pull a gun or a knife is you're in this fight, and he's beating the snot out of you, and suddenly this message comes over your head. I am losing. You know, are you in fear of your life? I don't know. You have to articulate that in a sensible way. But I am losing, and then suddenly, out comes the knife or the gun. And this is tricky. You're stabbing or shooting an unarmed guy, probably. Look at Trayvon Martin case in Florida. Florida is a heavy gun state. But it sounds good until you do it. That's why it's good to know a lot of unarmed combatives. Because you bump the guy off, and you don't kill him, and wind up ruining your life and killing somebody else. I don't care usually about the other dope dealer or whatever, but you have to think about yourself, you know. 2. And so, 1, we get mad enough. 2, we start to lose. And the third one has come out about the last 5 or 6 years, a dominant fervor. That toward the end of the fight, you're winning. It's a victory lap. And you hate for it to be over. And so you just relish the moment. Out comes the knife. You never should have fucked with me. See, it's a victory lap, a dominant fervor. Had one deal one time where a guy went like this, here, wear that for a while. And leave, you know. So that is the third kind of reason, dominant fervor. The gun and the knife comes out to further intimidate and scare the person. Because the fight is over and it's a victory lap. You don't want it to be over. Man, I did good. Oh, let's torment them, you know, and relish this moment. So this is something to think about. So you're pulling the knife before the fight starts, and you're pulling the knife or the gun after the the fight has started. And that's what this is. And so I'm the trainer, he's the trainee. And you can do this as much as you want, but you get out here and you kind of kickbox with your guy. Kickbox with him a little bit. Mess with him, and then at some point, he's got to be looking, I pulled out a knife. And so you're fighting me, but then you also have to keep track of his hands. And that's real shit right there. You know, so we can replicate it by doing some Jake leg kickboxing in class. Just you know, pow, we're here. I want you to put your stuff on, beat the snot out of each other, and at some point the trainer pulls the knife out, and the trainee has to do a stress quick draw.
That was quick. He didn't see the knife.
Another thing you might do is have a guy, just for the visual part of it. You know, you stand in front of a guy who's messing with you, and then suddenly he pulls out that knife, and you just be the observer and watch it, and then you become engaged. So, and then for your sake in stress quick draws, shadow box, pow, 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 and then slip out the knife wherever you think you have it. So, from stop one, those are some stress quick draws that you can do from stop one. I encourage you to make them up, make some more up in that standoff situation. Here we are in a stop two problem. Just a couple of quick solutions to think about. Is he's reached for me, or I've reached for him, and he's got, as we'll describe, and we'll get close. If you ever get like this is a real Las Vegas odds weird thing, that you perfectly mesh both hands together. The strong guy's going to win. You know, it's usually a chaotic snatch of fingers or of a wrist or something like that. It's usually chaotic. This is the beginning of the SVZ or center lock, and you can usually buy a few seconds with this. And you know, if you do Aikido, so you know they do all kinds of stuff. 4 directions: down, over this way, over that way, over the top. Sometimes people are very susceptible to it, and sometimes they're not. But today's subject is stress quick draws. And we do the same thing with a pistol as we do with the knives. You know, we crash, and then it just so happens I have that stall. I drop down, out comes the knife or the folder, and I open it up. You crash in, and then what I'd like to see you do, just real quickly from here, you may just do this. I don't know, but it's a stress quick draw from this problem area, stop two. Look at that capture right there. You know, I may just grab from there and say, you better get the fuck out of here. What are you, crazy? Try the verbal game, whatever. And sometimes you may just have to kill them. But here we have this circular release that usually most people have a problem with. You have any number, a push-pull, you know, a slap release, sometimes a good yank out that will get this weapon hand free for you to draw a knife or a gun. So there's a list of these that you can work through and find individually. But here's one where if I've got him, maybe he's got me, I've got him, right? If I decide, before I let go, and these are good to work. It's like Wing Chun in a way, you know. These are good to work. Before I let go, to try, I'm like, if I possibly can, and I just want to add, you know, do all that stuff too to get the time to do this. But I reach across and I let go then. And as he said before, if you grab the wrong arm and the knife is over here, you're screwed. However, if you have the pelvis or appendix grip, you can reach for it with either hand. So that's the decision you make. Well, that's why my folding knife is pretty much here now. So I'd like for you to do this. Let's just say he's got both your forearms, right? Just work this a couple of times. Reach across, reach back, take out that knife. And now as we progress later, you think about what you're doing. He's unarmed, you have a knife. You know, it's tricky. situational, very tricky. This is kind of an important thing here. I just want you to watch this in isolation without any action going on here. If I'm here, if it looks like I'm coming down to grab one of these carry sites, he grabs my forearm. And so this, when we do this with the gun too, it's great. You let go of the knife or gun, step away, slap release. And then you could pull your weapon or arm drag him to the side and then pull the weapon out. And then, you know, as we do in level 3, with if you pull into a saber grip, you have easy access that's covered to the armpit. But also, if you have that old military quick kill between the shoulder blade and the spinal cord, that you're trying to seek the heart, you know, you just drive that in there. Just some options. Just some options. So, you can do whatever you want. Cut the arm, you can do whatever you want. So, we're here then. He's got me. Or, you know, I do a circular release. Or I've got him. And I try to do this, like we just did. He ejects that. He does the same thing to me. And interrupts my draw. If you have time, whatever. So I let go of the knife or gun, kind of step away. I'm going to have to yank that out, slap release, and then I continue the draw. So here we have our forearm collision, and then the same kind of, I'm on the inside. Maybe this is a good way to start on the inside. Raise the arm up, raise it over, catch his mirror side to your weapon, and then you could shove with that elbow, scare him off, I'll kill you, what are you crazy, something like this. So here we have our forearm collision, and then the same kind of, I'm on the inside. Maybe this is a good way to start on the inside. Raise the arm up, raise it over, catch his mirror side to your weapon, and then you could shove with that elbow, scare him off, I'll kill you, what are you crazy, something like this.
So we crash, roll.
Just continue to keep all of these. Keep developing your own. This is just the spinal cord. You flesh out the problems. Keep working on. There's a never-ending possibility of all of them. Just experimenting and putting them together. Stop 4 is the shoulder line clavicle bicep crash. We'll move a little bit closer over here. There's a whole DVD on this hand stick knife gun. Fundamentally, the same thing. If I drop to grab my knife, he grabs my forearm. I come around and do that same release like we did earlier. This release with a gun, too, pretty universal. Another thing that's universal are verbal skills. You can talk to this guy the whole time you're fighting him. We crash! Boom! And you have the same series of pulling a gun, pulling the knife as we did last time, but just as a little, something that's different. Here, you have judo takedowns, but you have also something they refer to as pummeling, and that's just circulating your arms. We have a different definition of pummeling, but you see, and the reason being is if he's like this and I decide I wanted to knee him, well, if I throw this knee, his elbow could come down and stop it or stop the knee. So I circle to create this gate to make that knee land, So that's why you keep. There's many things like that, but you get for a better position. One super checkers way, we'll come over here, is to, and we have a whole segment on stop 4, push real hard. You push each other, and you have to do this under real angry force, But I am going, given this position, I'm going to try, I don't even have to circle, for a football straight arm, that is kind of center chest, just long enough for me to pop open a knife or pull out a gun. And that's all I'm going to ask you to hit. And if you decide, like if I was up here, just stay here. If I was up here, I might circle under counterclockwise and get a good football stiff arm to take out the gun and the knife.
All right, whatever you want.
All right. Oh, I was like, why am I getting stabbed? So again, here. Nice, good. Not yet. Move around. All right, whenever you can. Nice.
Stop 5 is the bear hug. And so, just as we've crashed in, we'll turn this way. Just as an aside, if 90% of the population is right-handed, we'll move over here. If 90% of the population is right-handed, it would be strategically smart for you to take your head and get it on his right side. This way, if this arm goes to be pulling some weapons or stuff, you could see it, maybe. If you get stuck over here, I suggest 2 tips. Once again is that elbow. See, I can't see his elbow due to this hood. So if you're a bad guy, you need a hood. But if he doesn't have a hood, I might see the elbow as a tip. And then you come in and you have to fight on from here, but you've stopped. You've stopped the common carry sight quick draws. And then the other thing is, if Jason is beating the snot out of me, and it's really working, why did he stop? Why is there no action on that side? Could be that he's digging out a weapon. We crash into this here, and now at some point, now maybe I can move over and try to capture his arm, and then try to take this out. You'll see what you can do, He may stop, and this is the beginning of the SVZ, or center lock. You see that right there? It's just a half circle, drive the pummel down and take advantage of that. But now, woo, he sees the knife. And then you can use what we call tip of the spear idea where you say, man, I'm going to cut your throat, or I'm going to gut you. You feel that? That's my knife. You're 2 inches away from your gut spilling out all over the floor. Stuff like that. And that's tip of the spear. In the military, the tip of the spear, first guy's in fighting the enemy. But for knife training, that we use the tip of the spear as an explanation of, hey, look what's here. Look what's here. And using that as a threat. So there's this. So anyway, mix it up here, and then you're the guy trying to get the weapon pull. There's early phase, mid phase, and late phase counters to just about everything, but some things don't have a late phase, like a choke. If you're in it, it's really bad. So it's bad. When you have it, it's bad. So anyway, if I do have that time, I do pull this thing, I reach down, open up this knife. Some people are telling you to do this. And of course, he's moving you around, and you're just stabbing like crazy. So I don't think it's a good idea. And so here I am, and I'm just going to start stabbing his thigh and ripping it until he can't stand it anymore. Let's turn this way so the camera. Stabbing it, and then I believe that eventually he'll grab my hand. He'll grab the hand to stop me. And then you're out of that pose. You can maybe Olympic baton switch hands and attack him or something like this. But I show that even on the ground in stop 6, rather than you, because if you're doing this to a guy, he's just moving all over the place like this, and then he's going to go like this at your hand. It's probably not a good idea. He's got me shoulder to chest, another particular one. You're already turned so that you can make that draw. And so that's a good thing to do right there. And then, of course, if he grabs your arm, then you have where we are, the push-pull. He snakes there. You have to get around that. You're almost in that position. There it is. To get the deal. So you have to play with it, but you get the idea. Now, what if you're caught this way, though? You have to escape. Remember, please, no matter stop 2, 3, 4, 5, you can still push out and do all the stop 1 draws. You know what I mean? You can try to push out and resort to all the number 1 simple and free, unencumbered draws. You can try it. You may not always. He may just come in after you. But I'd like to see you now try this. Don't forget, you fight him a little bit. Maybe you can get space, but I'm already restricted unless I have the appendix carry. Then it's right. Then it's right there. Stop 6 is about the ground, fighting on the ground. and doing these stress quick draws on the ground. So what I'd like for people to do is put your knife up, and we'll do this with a bad guy standing away from you. But you're on the ground, and you have to watch. You see the person give you the clue like we did when standing, and then you've got to open up that knife and get it ready. So what we're going to do then is some on your back, some over here, and yes, if you're some here, which is crunched. Combat has always been about fighting from awkward positions. And so our right side, the knife is on the right side or by the appendix carry, it's going to be an awkward quick draw. So that's why it's good to do that. But we're going to slowly go through. I'll watch my trainer. The trainer draws a weapon. I've got to take mine out. And also, as we progress through this, face down. You're down here and looking up, and you're going to have to draw this weapon. You'll have to move your body in a certain way to get to the weapon. Jason is our standing trainer, and he's going to pull, and our hero has to just open his knife. We do in the stick course, the knife course, and the gun course, and we just call it the shield. And so we'll slowly walk through this. I'm just using a stick here. I do a sucker punch. Poof, he hits the ground. He's somewhat stunned. He may shoulder walk back. I pull out this stick, and he puts his shield out that prevents me from getting closer, and of course gets up. So the first set of 3 is I am nothing but like a Wing Chun dummy to give him stress for a quick draw. And so, if I'm here in this position, this is what we used to call topside saddle, which is really pretty good because I'm squeezing off all his weapons and his belt line, Anyway, however, if he has an appendix carry, it's not. Let's turn a little bit sideways. If his appendix carry, it's not squeezed off. This is something to think about. And of course, you got 2 versions here. I'll show you. I will do the second one. So with Jason, my job is just to get. I don't care that he's going to get a knife. I don't care that he's got a knife or a gun. I'm just giving him flack, stress. A lot of times people will do the BJJ curriculum. And so basically, here we go. We begin. We'll just kind of do it slow. Let it get started. I try to punch him. I try to punch him. I try to get this arm. And his job now is to get that knife. I'm giving him stress. He's got the knife. Now I quit. We return back to this position. Right? Now I change position. Because what I want to do is give him a variety, Same thing again. Do not try to grab his knife, mess with him. Just give him flack. Just give him some flack. And now comes the knife. Oh, over. Then change positions. You get the idea? So that he gets to draw under stress, preliminary, various positions.
Go inside the guard. Wrap your legs around, and let's go. Bow, 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 bow. And go.
Hey, but it's open. So you can get over to it, it's open. And on guard.
This time, our trainer, remember, he's supposed to be a trainer. So, that's that. He's supposed to develop his skill. This time, he knows that he has a knife, and he's going to try to stop him from drawing the knife. And that's pretty much it. And then if you get the knife out, and like touch him or threaten him, then it's over. Then you put it back up, you start in a new position again. I picked the ground because it's the hardest. It's the bottom side of hell. But in your classes, you can be the top side guy. And the bottom, just keep going, keep inventing stuff. Wear stuff. The trainer could wear stuff. You should be punching him and all this, Is both guys have knives. Both guys are one of preventing each guy from having a knife. And he who touches the one first, is wins. Then it's over. Then you switch positions so that the trainee sees a lot of different variations. So begin.
Touch. Me, your next one. Ah!
You want to fight with my mama?
One of the speeches in Knife One is about life being just an interview or an ambush. And that is, of course, very generically speaking. Life is either an ambush or an interview. And the best way to prepare for both of these is this list, which is also in level 1 of every course I teach. And that is the who, what, where, when, how, and why, which I heard of first in the Military Police Academy decades ago about how a police officer writes a crime report. And then I learned later that a detective has to answer those questions even better, and a prosecutor has to really delve into those. And then you all see Law and Order and stuff. I'm just going to tell you that you never know what little thing, it becomes a big thing when you go to court. And people are scrambling to find an answer at the last minute during the trial. And so these questions are very important. And level 1 of the knife course is really just a quick overview or an introduction to this. And then level 2, we discuss the details of who, level 3, what, and so on. But this is just a basic introduction to it. But it's important to say that there's a duality to each one of them. So let's just take, for example, the who question. Duality. Who are you, and who do you think you're going to be fighting? Realistically, Nazi commandos, UFC champs. I mean, who do you think in your life you're really going to be fighting? And that's an example of the duality that we discussed throughout the whole thing. But the who, fundamentally, who are you? Who do you think you're going to be fighting? What do you think is going to happen, both big and small, when in your life, realistically, what is going to happen? Are you training for, a military invasion with AK-47s, or are you just going to have a guy with a gun in a bank, that you go to? So realistically, what do you think is going to happen? Realistically, where do you think this is going to happen? Details to follow in subsequent levels, but where, the classic line is being at the wrong place at the wrong time, But there's so much more to discuss on that. And for a quick example, where in your life do you go to every week? And you can make a list. It suddenly becomes manageable. Well, I go to 6 or 7 places every week, or 5 places. The same bank, used to be the same video store, but the DVD business is disappearing, the same grocery store. And then once you define where you usually go, you can begin to build things around that makes sense. All of it is based on sound intelligence information that you could collect, And that is sometimes tricky, but, you have to try to organize that. Well, where do you think it's going to happen? When do you think it's going to happen? Armed robberies increase at Christmas time. Gunfights occur in the hours of darkness. Don't get me started on the list. We'll discuss that when it comes down to night 7 or 8, or 6. How do you think it's going to unfold? How will you react? How will he react? In the big picture, and then on down to the small, because another phase of this, duality, and then of course micro and macro. The big question, the little question. How are you going to stop this? I'm going to pull my gun. How are you going to stop it when he steps this way? When he reaches there? How are you going to stop it when he grabs your throat? That's the small. And then why do you think this is happening? Usually criminals are quite verbal. Give me your car keys. You pretty much know right away what they want, give me your money, etc. Give me your watch. I'm often entertained by these de-escalators who want to pontificate on how do you de-escalate a mugging. Man, he just wants your watch. What are you going to do? Drop some Gestalt therapy on him? So what socioeconomic reasons have brought you to this point in your life? He wants your watch. He's got a pipe in his hand. You can't, it's very, almost impossible to de-escalate. You got to be a hell of a politician to think you're going to talk some of these people out of fights. But they make a living selling you that, these types of things. But anyway, this is extremely important. And as I like to say, and to finish this up, is as I went further, working in trials and stuff, I also began to realize this is important in life. Answer these questions when you buy a car. Answer these questions when you're going to get married. Where are you going to move? These relate to everything. You can plan a safe trip to the ATM with this. You can also plan the invasion of Europe in World War II, D-Day. Something. Prepare what you're going to say. Clint Smith, gun god, Vietnam vet, wounded, SWAT team commander. He likes to tell people to say, "Stop! Stop!" Just over and over again. Stop! Stop! It's very simple. Lizard brain of the enemy gets it. It's not any kind of long Gestalt therapy remark. And that might be what you want to do. But it's a good idea to pick something and practice it, because it won't come out otherwise. Get back, get away, leave me alone. What are you, crazy? Say something, You always say that you're doing this to stop him because of all these legal issues, But I will say, from a legal perspective, that if you do use your knife, you're going to be screwed. It's going to be bad. You'll probably be arrested. It will suck. And so what I suggest everyone does is get a lawyer. Smile, look at the police and say, "I wish I could tell you, I really wish I could help you out, but I did this in self-defense. I think I just better get a lawyer." But smile when you're saying it. And they'll have to say in their report, "Man says it was self-defense, wants attorney." That's all anybody in the rest of the system will hear for a while is self-defense. And you could get booked, you could get arrested, booked in. I don't know where you are, what circumstances are, but this is bad. And a gun too. It's going to be bad for you. So you run the risk. And in the W, the what, the big what question is, what happens next? You take action, what happens next? He does this, what happens next? The end of the perfect answer is, what happens next is, I'm home, I'm unhurt, I won't be sued, I won't be arrested. In the military, you're back on base, you're changing your socks. That is the end question. And if all your actions can lead to that, it's perfect. But it's going to be bad. So just be prepared. You've maybe saved your life, but it's going to be... And then you get exonerated $8,000 later. $100,000, $80,000 later. You see that you get a lawyer, you have all this problem, and then you're exonerated. Your mugshot's in the paper when they arrested you, but when you're exonerated, it's not.